All right, everybody, get ready for this episode of Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN. We got a really badass show tonight. This week's going to be extra special, not only because we're drinking some delicious award-winning beers from True Anomaly, but we also have a legend with us.
A legend, that's right. Houston legend. We have the Mighty Orq on tonight. Y'all know, you should know, but if you don't know, stick around and learn.
Stick around and learn because we're going to listen to some Mighty Orq. We're going to talk to them and jam some songs. This is Vinyl Voices Radio. ESPN 97.5.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm John Denman.
Tessie Sandehan.
All right, this is Vinyl Voices Radio. I'm John Denman. He's Jesse Sandejas. And we are hanging out with the Mighty Orq. Welcome.
good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is morning for you.
You know.
There's been a lot of times where the evenings, it's like, time to watch the sunset. It's beautiful.
I mean, like every musician I know, it's like, it's, breakfast time when we're heading home from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing it right.
Right. Yeah.
So we have Mighty Orq, someone that I've seen perform many times. We've hung out a good handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
But the performances are just always just incredible.
Thank you, man.
If you've never experienced a show, you need to definitely go watch it. But it's you take people on a musical journey, and one thing that happens, and every show I've seen is that you just go through this whole long thing where you just play for a long time, different guitars, and it just gets quiet, and it just like draws and sucks you in and all that, and it's just fun.
It's awesome, man. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoy it. I with stuff like that, I've sort of tried to, like you say. I mean, there's I feel like in a performance, there's sort of a trajectory or sort of a like a story arc really to the show. So that's that's one of the ways that I try to sort of present it. Where it really is engaging for people. And they kind of are they have to sort of be. You have to sort of focus on the performance a little bit just to sort of see what's happening next,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know you play with a band, play like solo, and doing a lot of that solo stuff. I'm sure, that is something that's just developed over time. You just, know how to draw people in just from the sheer necessity of it sometimes.
That's exactly it. So much, especially there was from, I don't know, the period like around 2011, 2012, to like, for 2014, 2015, I was doing a lot more solo shows than I was playing with the band. And so like, that's sort of when I started bringing a bunch of different instruments, to the shows and incorporating, just a varied instrumentation into a show, because like you say, it's, to sort of engage with folks and then keep them engaged really requires, especially as a solo act, just requires some thought and some visual stimulation as well. So if you've got a cigar box guitar and you've got a lap steel and you've got a double neck guitar and a resonator guitar and an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar, all this stuff, it just captures people's imagination a little bit more, and so they're more willing to listen to you as a solo act. Because a lot of times I think when people think of somebody performing solo, it's one of two things. It's either you've got like the one man band, like the kick drum on your back, and you're walking around with the cymbals and or it's somebody with an acoustic guitar,
right.
And it's maybe a little less exciting for somebody to watch unless they're really a fan of that artist.
Right.
So it really was. It was born out of necessity, and then I've translated that over to the band shows as well, and it's a ball. Yeah. It's so much fun,
It is for us too.
Yeah, and I'm sure like whenever you're like as an artist, when you're up there and you're performing from a packed house and everything, when you have everybody's eyes on you, that's gotta be stimulating, right?
It's it's interesting. Yeah, it's really like part of my mind is sort of like, Don't blow it, man. They're watching you. Don't screw up.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know, I've never never been like a nervous or shy performer. You know, I don't really get stage fright. You know, and so there's the other element of it for me is like I'm really focused on just presenting something that is exciting for me and for an audience, and that it's fun that we can share together. Like in the performance space. And then what's really cool, what's really a jolt, like is that when you get done with a tune or you play a really cool passage on the guitar, or you sing something cool or whatever it is, and then the audience responds, with woo, something like that, because that's exactly how an audience sounds, by the way.
Yes.
But when you get this, when you get a response, the sort of response that you're hoping for, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But them watching is sort of like, it's like, okay, just stay focused, stay here. We're doing this,
I feel like this is like the best teaser that we've done on this show, because we came on, we did the intro. We were like, the Mighty Orq, a legend. We gave the audience that doesn't know no clue as to what this music sounds like. And even talking about all this, it's just like the setup, like, John launches right into it. Man, you're awesome live.
Yeah.
But, all of this, we still haven't really talked about the sound. So maybe we just go to the song and let's hear the song and then circle back.
All right.
This one's called Stolen.
Covered in the dust of a country road, money in your pocket, but nowhere left to go. You gotta lay low, keep your head down, hide out where there's no one else around. You've been playing the dice, you better keep rolling. Telling where to go, you have stolen. Well, always on your trail, you're getting so close. Dreams of cats will haunt you, just like a hungry ghost. You swear you didn't know, it didn't mean to hurt no one. Now you're counting down the days by the bullets in your gun, and off in the distance, a bell is tolling, sounding for the lives you have stolen. Oh, you have stolen. Flying through the air, oh, the bullets ain't cut you.
All right. Yeah, that one is just. I mean, it's a story.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I was working with this company, this podcast company for a little while, writing sort of like background music and stuff like that for their podcasts, and writing and recording songs for them, and I did one. There's another. So that song. It's called Stolen. And it's on the newest album, which has not been released yet, and and there's another tune on that record called The Outlaw that I wrote sort of as part of this series for this podcast called Legends of the Old West. And the company that was doing that, they were going to do a podcast about bank robbers from the 1930s. And so they asked me to write a theme song for one of the episodes about not Jesse James, Pretty Boy Floyd.
Okay.
And so that's where that tune came from. So I was just trying to think about a 1930s bank robber and that was really the idea for the song, and like I incorporated like on the original recording that I had done before we tracked it at the studio, where I was just kind of basically a demo type deal. I played banjo on it and talking about all the instruments that you bring to a gig. I was like, I don't want to have to bring a banjo to a gig too, you know what I mean, and figure out how to like electrify it, because I don't have an electric banjo. So I have a resonator that I sort of modified to I strung kind of like a banjo that I use now. And but yeah, that was the idea of the song. It was sort of I wanted to give it sort of a rustic feel, Oklahoma in the early 20th century with maybe a little bit of banjo, but a little bit of slide and energy with rock and roll, and talking about just sort of trying to have a sense of like what it was like to be an outlaw, but in the in the early 20th century as opposed to in the later 19th century.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love, without knowing any of that, just kind of listening to the lyric. It's just like, that's what music is, like it draws you in. It doesn't matter where it came from. Yeah. You can find something to attach to. But that song to me sounds like, if you do dirt, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
That's what that song is. And that song plays anywhere because there's a bunch of people doing dirt out there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. That was... Yeah. I love that, dude. I love that.
So that's a great description of what it is. Yeah. But I don't know. I mentioned it like when we were listening to it, but that line where it's like counting down the days by the bullets in my gun. Yeah, that's one of those. Like, did you write that? I went, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the whole thing. Like, I really like. When I'm writing stuff, I write sort of a few different ways. And I feel like with lyrics, because I'm not a natural lyricist, I feel more comfortable like writing instrumental music, because I can hear that stuff more easily in my mind, and it just makes more sense to me. So lyrically, I've really had to, I've had to work a lot harder on that. And what I've found, one of the techniques that really works for me is when I totally like, I'm not writing about anything personal. It's like I'm telling a story. This song is based on the life of Pretty Boy Floyd.
Right.
And so then what I sort of do is I just like, I'm trying to tell the story in pictures and like talk about the pictures, like really describe those pictures. So it's like, what do I see? Like I see this guy, like, he's out in the middle of nowhere and, he's dusty. He's got, his big V8, Ford or whatever, kind of car. And, he's on the lam and all he's got is like, he's in some dusty little rundown shack or something. And he's like, how long have I been here? I don't know. It's like, well, he just starts putting, bullets on the windowsill for each day. You know what I mean? And anyway, but stuff like that. So like when I sort of start to think in those terms, like where I'm really describing and sort of trying to describe these like visual or or pictures that that you would see in a story, then you get cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, trying to rhyme doesn't hurt either.
Right.
I mean, you kind of have to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not always, but but yeah, I mean, it is like a just and those pictures are painted very vividly in that song. Even part of like you're lying on your back, staring into the sky, tear rolling out. Yeah, I mean, you catch on to those lyrics, you can see all those scenes.
That's
it's
awesome.
like that's the video right there. We don't even need it, because it's so clear.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because that's really, with this song and this other tune called Outlaw. I mean, that's really that was sort of the place where I was writing from. Where it's like you're telling the story about these folks, and I was really just trying to describe something that was, it's this very visceral thing. You think that you're on the lam, or you're whatever. The Outlaws, the story on that one's a little bit different. But yeah, with this one, it's like just trying to, that to me is I feel like I write the strongest lyrics when I'm just thinking about images and like just telling the story in a stepwise manner. It has a beginning and a middle and an end.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. We need to take a quick break and get back. We'll talk more with the Mighty Orq. This is Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN. We'll be right back.